Thank you, John. Good morning. Good morning. Right, what a privilege to be here. And as John said, I was here 10 years ago when you launched the IoT Security Foundation. And many congratulations, John, to what you have achieved. I think it's been a long journey, and you should be really proud, and everyone that supported the IoT Security Foundation. Before I go into my talk, let me see if this works. In the audience, I can see Gani Dadiala, which is the director for the ASIN network, the Automotive Electronics and Systems. ASIN is one of the sister organizations that promotes collaboration across the automotive industry. So please take the opportunity to have a chat with Gani. And if you're not a member of the ASIN and you're interested in automotive, then it would be a good conversation to have with him. Right, John did the introduction, so I'll move straight away into what I want to present today. I'm hoping to get across a couple of messages because I've looked at the agenda and stunning speakers throughout the whole day. And I've made the commitment to stay here all day, and I will attend as many as possible sessions. Right. So let's begin with the world's largest economies as of this year, 2024. So we will see, no surprise, US, China, UK is hanging there, top 10. And most of you will know the impact of cybersecurity across the whole industry as a whole. And you will know, I'm pretty sure, that cybercrime nowadays is worth more than the narcotics industry. So if you were to place cybercrime as a whole, as an economy, where will you put it? Where will you put cybercrime, total cybercrime? That means infrastructure, products, you name it. Where will you put cybercrime against GDP of each of the countries listed there? Will you put it below Canada? Will you put it above Canada? Where will you put it? Sorry? Really good. So, to make your data relevant, if you take cybercrime as of 2023 and superimpose on 2024 GDP, it will have been the third largest economy. It gets better than that. The projection is for cybercrime to reach 20 trillion by 2026. Now, we don't know whether it could become second or remain third largest economy as a size, but you can see the scale of it. And I thought it's important to start with something like that. I'm here from an automotive world. The IoT Security Foundation covers Internet of Things, but cybersecurity affects our lives on a daily basis. So this is really, really serious business. That's why we need the academics, and we need the industrialists, like myself, to come together and co-create the future rather than react on the future. Right, so the theme, it is past, present, and future. So although I give you a little bit of a flavor from an automotive point of view, and later on, I'm sure other speakers will cover other areas of IoT. Past automotive industry, it was all about physical security. It's simple as that. Physical security, key, and a key fob, at best. A key to unlock the vehicle, and a key fob, radio frequency 433 megahertz, plus maybe an LF for passive entry. That was really the cybersecurity of the vehicle. There was no connectivity to the cloud. And actually, if I go back to 2013, it was 2010, 2011 that we start to see the first connectivity between vehicle and the cloud. Where we are today, and it's important to see over the past 10, 15 years how far the industry has progressed. So today, we have huge digital system that makes the vehicle and the cloud. The vehicle has more than 100 electronic control units. That's for a premium manufacturer, not only us at Jaguar Land Rover, but other premium manufacturers. These electronic controls units are all interconnected with dedicated network topology on board the vehicle. There is a number of communication channels between the vehicle and the cloud. So you go GNSS, you go GSM, you go Wi-Fi, you go Bluetooth, ultra-wideband, you name it. And then what you do have is infrastructure in place today to manage cybercrime. So in the automotive industry, we call them the SOCs or the VSOC. SOC as a security operating center, VSOC as a vehicle security operating center, of which all threats, potential vulnerabilities will land, will be triaged, and the appropriate response will take place. The infrastructure of SOC will run blue and red teams, so both offensive and defensive teams, and it's a constant battle to ensure that the product is secure. If that wasn't enough, traditional software development for the automotive industry, it was all about product integrity, mainly around functional safety, so-called FUSA. But as you can see from the slide, premium automotive vehicles will have a number of cybersecurity controls. We will have a sign software that's already in production. It will have a secure boot as a standard practice in industry. We'll have crypto today. Vehicles out there do have all of that stuff. We will have certificates that they need to match the onboard, off-board content. And of course, last but not least, for the first time, we have a new regulation for cybersecurity, of which is a prerequisite to sell the vehicle. It's as simple as that. So the new regulation is the UNEC R155. It came into force 2021. 2022 new types, 2024 all vehicle registrations. As you can imagine, we and other automotive OEMs, we are now October 2024, we had to certify both a process and every vehicle line for Europe and Japan. And I'll come into later on what does it mean to the rest of the markets. So what it is that we're heading? I didn't want to make it too academic to where we're heading, and I kind of put things in some sort of order. So the things that are before us, actually just in front of us, pretty much implementations are complete, and it's just ready to be launched by the automotive industry as a whole. Security measures for networks. So you might have heard, you might not have heard of SecOC, as securing CAN communication networks. IPsec, which is securing Ethernet lines. Vehicle key management systems. How do you go about managing individual certificates for vehicles rather than a fleet? Intrusion detection systems. Advanced secure login. Advanced secure diagnostics. I can go on and on and on. Yeah. Remember, things like firewall or perimeter hardening is already in production. So that's the next bit that is almost there. What it is that is coming after that? Things like sign software, secure boot, we all have to be realigned to a post-quantum computing. So we're going to have to move from where we are today to a post quantum computing science software secure boot. That's really important as a starter for 10. That is a minimum prerequisite. We're going to have to think about distributed supply chain far more than what we do today because simply of the complexity of the supply chain. And then we've left with the bit around software development. And the software development has to be done in a way that functional safety, data privacy, cybersecurity, actually I will put them in order. Functional safety first, cybersecurity second, data privacy third as a design step, somehow wrapped by the whole integrity of the product at the software development phase. And that is more than having a framework, it's more than having a tool. It's about a mindset shift, how you do that by design. John mentioned the introduction of AI, and AI is an opportunity and a threat. And clearly, it has to be considered in this space, what is the best use of AI? And I think there are a few presentations throughout today that cover that topic. A hot topic for today is software-defined vehicles. It's another hot topic. Everyone has their own definition of what it means. In a nutshell, it's a highly interconnected ecosystem that on-board and off-board content is blurred. Capability of a software-defined vehicle is to be continuously updatable and offer features on demand in a way that in the past we couldn't do it. New regulations. That won't go away. China, 2 weeks ago, officially announced the equivalent of 155 and 156. For China, introduction January 26, new types, February 28. But guess what? It's different. It's not the same as 155, 156. They have added a lot of additional technical content. So you do it once for a specific market, and then you have to go all over again for another market. And then you're thinking, hang on, what is the common denominator? Because you can't keep redesigning the vehicle for every market. Right, so I thought as a next step to say what it is that drives challenges for us as an automotive industry. And I listed three things. And I'm pretty sure if I were to do a little survey in this room, everyone would have picked complexity and connectivity for the obvious reasons, right? Connectivity, highly connected. Complexity, volume of software. I'm not sure whether the factor of extensibility is well surfaced. But I can tell you from our experience and also my colleagues within the automotive industry, extensibility now becomes a bigger challenge than complexity and connectivity. Connectivity because best practice exists, it needs to evolve, there's no question about it, it needs to evolve. Current vehicles do have GNSS, GSM, Wi-Fi, all of that stuff, that current technology exists, as John said, should you implement properly to be secure, for your design to be secure. Complexity is about managing complexity. And maybe another time we're going to have another opportunity to talk about complexity. I did a talk at Astor University about a year ago, specifically on complexity. What can you do, the three ingredients to tackle complexity, and not just leave it at the academic level? What practically you can do? Extensibility is, I will call it, is a new thing. And it's all about a couple of things. Number one is, at the launch of a product, we used to sign off a design. We used to sign off a design, sell a product with some sort of 10 years warranty for spare parts. Most of you that own vehicles, that was a standard procedure, right? The landscape is changing with new regulations. So there's a commitment there and a requirement that you have to maintain the integrity of the vehicle. And I'm not talking about functional safety integrity, because that has been there for many, many years. But the integrity of the vehicle in terms of cybersecurity, in a way you have to consider what you update, how you update it, how you go about to update, and at which point you will start decommissioning specific systems on the vehicle. That's really important. So extensibility becomes a huge issue because you will do all your threat analysis. You will do all your TARAs. For us, the threat analysis and research and risk assessment for onboard system. For off-board system, you will do your threat modeling. These documents are now live documents until the end of the life of that vehicle. If you think about it, it's mind-blowing. Right? You used to have a document, sign off, ready to go. No. We sign off a baseline, but that's a living organ. The risk assessment is a living organ. Every time you update, you go to redo your risk assessment. You have to calculate your unmitigated and mitigated risk. What is the residual? What is your business appetite for that residual? And it's an ongoing process because you conducted an assessment, and the day after that, potentially, you are already 1 day behind because you don't know how threat actors have evolved over time. However, what it is that we can do to address some of these challenges? Technology, absolutely. There's no question about it. We already mentioned some of the stuff that are already before us and some of the stuff that are coming down the pipeline in terms of technology. And it's a huge factor. There's no question about it. We need technology. Without technology, we couldn't make it. The second thing is we need frameworks. But we need frameworks in a way that we do not create a polarization. We cannot have on one side standardize everything and another polarity customize everything. So it has to be what is the VIP middle ground. And in this case, as an example, I would say the VIP is a framework with the freedom to operate. I will call technology and frameworks more about the how. And I've split the top of the triangle into the what, and I place people. In my humble opinion, I've been 20 odd years in the industry, I still believe people can be the biggest asset or can be the biggest weakness in the organization. And I'm not talking about skills here. That's needless to say, right? Skills, it is important. I'm talking in general, decision making, where you want to take systemic views, when you want to take new perspectives. I've got one slide to finish, and that will be my 15 minutes done. What can we do differently? And I actually had a few thoughts, whether I present this slide or not. And I thought, you know what, go for it. And if I fail miserably to communicate the message, so be at least I tried. I'm using here the concept of bifurcation point, which is really, for the mathematicians in the room, it's just a fancy name of splitting something into two parts. But for every complex adaptive system, nature, it will tell us that there will be a point. That bifurcation point will either evolve into something more complex or will collapse into something manageable or less complex. What does it mean for us? What does it mean for us? We cannot predict what will happen. And I don't know if that's a strong or a weak statement, but what we can do is we can influence what may happen. The second thing, and I put some of the sources that I'm inspired to make this talk today, is that we're moving from the constant context to a constant change. That is fundamental. I will encourage you, take those sources, read those couple of books that I've listed there. What is the substance behind it? A typical 50-year-old will have experienced 3 major technological changes in their lifetime. That is a constant change. It's not a constant content. The new cybersecurity future will come through emergence, and that emergence we may require a systemic view, may not require a systemic view. And 10 seconds before I wrap up, if you were to plot complexity on y-axis, an approach you would take as an x-axis, my understanding is there are 4 approaches you can take. It's the individual approach, it's the coordinated approach, it's the systemic, and the new perspective. If the tap is running and the sink is overflowing, you can turn the tap. It's the individual approach. If you're launching a product, you need to link together marketing, sales, product engineering, IT, and etc. It's the coordinated approach. For something bigger than that, you need to take more of a systemic approach. But sometimes, and I think we will reach a point that the systemic approach will not be enough, and we're going to have to take more a new perspective approach. Final bit, because I wanted to wrap this up to make it relevant to the IoT, and I mentioned this to John this morning when we were having a coffee. When you look in an ecosystem, I strongly believe the interdependencies or interaction between the entities are more important than the actual entities. So I will finish with that.
Great
Thank you.
advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John.